I'm Laura Newton, an assistant professor and registered dietitian in the Department of Nutrition Sciences at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. After cancer treatment ends, the focus should turn to how to improve your diet to help prevent cancer recurrence. Come with me as I see a patient who has completed cancer treatment and has some nutrition questions. Hi, Ms. Dancy. I'm Laura Newton. I'm a registered dietitian.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you. What brings you in today?
I came in today because I just finished taking my last cancer treatment, and I want to be able to make healthy choices and know about my exercise. So I came to get you to help me figure out what I need to do.
Okay. Well, first of all, congratulations on finishing your treatment. I know that is a big weight off your mind, and that's very exciting. And congratulations, too, on thinking about how you can make some steps to improve your health through diet and exercise. Weight management is one of the first things that I encourage people to think about in terms of reducing your risk of cancer. And then also going into some specific things to add to your diet to help reduce your risk of cancer. Do you have any specific questions about the diet?
No, I really just want to know what I need to eat. Can you just get me started with that first?
Sure. You hear so many things out there, and one of the things that I encourage people to do is to think about a plant-based diet, meaning a lot of plants and minimizing, not eliminating, but minimizing animal protein. And I've got some food things out here that I'm going to talk about as we talk, but having lots of fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And one thing people think, well, that's going to cost more, I can't afford a healthy diet, but it doesn't have to be all fresh fruits and vegetables. I've got like some frozen vegetables here, some canned fruit, so things, and even canned vegetables, even things like that are packed in water or packed in juice or don't have salt added to it, those would be very good choices. And the frozen vegetables, one thing that surprises a lot of people about those is they're just as nutritious and sometimes even more so than fresh vegetables because they're picked at the peak of season and so they don't lose those nutrients in being transported. One of the things, I've got a handout I was going to give you and let you take with you is, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, called the New American Plate. And this is put out by the American Institute for Cancer Research. And it's just a visual to help people think about what their plate should look like. We hear about different diets, but I think just that visual of what you eat on your plate can help make good choices. And so you can see here the protein is about a third or less of your plate. So that should be chicken, fish, turkey, and prepared in a healthy way, a lean protein, so baked, grilled, broiled, that type of method. And then the rest of your plate, so 2/3 of your plate, covered with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Things like whole wheat bread or whole grain pasta or rice. Beans, I have a can of beans here, are an excellent both protein source. They're also very high in fiber. They have a lot of good nutrition, and what I like for people to think about is what they can add to their diet to improve their health. So many people think about eating healthy, what they can't have, what they have to take away, but I want you to think about what to add. So these fruits and vegetables and whole grains are very important.
Okay, I have heard a lot about carbs. Can you help me with that?
Yeah, there are good carbohydrates that give us a lot of good nutrition, and particularly from a cancer perspective, have a lot of cancer fighting properties. I talked about the beans. They're a carbohydrate food, but they have a lot of fiber, which is very good for us for many ways. We think about it for our bowel function, but also in terms of helping with weight management. And there are specific things in there that can help fight cancer too. And then another thing, let me point out, is in reading ingredient labels, you want the first ingredient to be a whole grain. So you can see this cereal, the first ingredient is whole grain wheat.
Okay.
And that means that it hasn't been processed. When foods are processed, they're removing parts of the grain. They're removing part of the bran, the germ, things that contain nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients, these things that protect against cancer. So with things like cereal, with bread, with crackers, you want that first ingredient to be a whole grain. So that's one key thing to think about in looking at food labels.
All right. I am so glad you mentioned vitamins, because that was going to be my next question.
Okay. First of all, I would say think about your diet. I'm a big advocate of food first, and so getting nutrients from food. And by choosing a wide variety of foods, and particularly for your fruits and vegetables, kind of deep colored fruits and vegetables, those have the most vitamins and minerals in them. Now, there are some instances where people may need a vitamin, and I encourage you to talk to your physician. Sometimes certain treatments may result in a need for a specific vitamin. So there are times where it's needed, but certainly think about your diet first off too.
Okay. I'm so glad you told me about these different things and how to choose, from the label. But we didn't talk about how to prepare my meats and my vegetables. So is there anything I need to do special when I'm preparing those?
Well, with anyone, and particularly someone who's gone through cancer treatment, I think it's important to think about food safety. And so you want to make sure with meats that they're cooked well, particularly in terms of how they're prepared. So if you're chopping something or cutting something on a cutting board, have a separate one for meat versus vegetables or fruits. Make sure that those are washed well. Keep your countertops clean. Wash your hands well and wash fruits and vegetables before you cut or prepare those things. And keep things at a proper temperature. So don't, a lot of people think of like Thanksgiving and then they leave the turkey out all day. So don't leave things out where they can get to an unsafe temperature.
Okay, one last question.
Sure.
I heard something about being around flowers and fresh fruits. Do I have to worry about that since I just finished my treatment?
Right. That is something that I encourage you to talk to your physician about, because it depends on your blood counts.
Okay.
And if those are low, then that would be something that you need to watch, because when that's low, you're at higher risk of infection. So there are times where you may need to watch that, but that's something to find out about, because I don't want to discourage you eating those if you don't need to.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you came to talk to me.
Well, good. I'm glad you came. Thank you.
All right.
A few tips to focus on after cancer treatment ends is to include more fruits, deep-colored vegetables, and whole grains in your diet. Remember to use the New American Plate to visualize how your plate should look.